people think Will Yip is not a good producer. I think Will Yip is actually a fine producer. I just think that bands bring him. He works with bands that aren't very good. Because when he, all of those Balance and Composure records, I think sound boring because the songs are boring, not because the production is bad.
Sure.
But like when he works with bands that are good, like the records are good.
I'm looking at his discography right now, and there's some real bangers on this one.
It seems so like dumb and obvious to say that, but like he gets a bad rap for things that I think are not his fault.
Yeah.
But like he made the Best Braid record, which might also be kind of a hot take.
That's a spicy one, but I respect it.
He made arguably the best Law Dispute record. Also, I think a hot take.
Wait, was that Rooms of the House that he did?
Rooms of the House.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm a Wildlife stan for real, but I also, again, respect that opinion.
Yeah, I think his work with the Menzingers has been pretty good. I don't know. I think he's like I said, I just think he gets a bad rap because a lot of bands that are both popular and not very good work with him.
Sure. Yeah. No, I get that. Welcome to Noise Floor, a podcast about music where we talk about our favorite bands through the lens of their discographies. My name is Matt Kistler.
And I'm Troy Sennett.
And today we, as I'm sure many of you know, just finished up a series on the discography of Thursday, famed New Jersey hardcore band, post-hardcore band, whatever you want to call them. It doesn't really matter to me. It probably doesn't really matter to them, being categorized as a prison. Anyway. So we just finished up a series. We are going to do a bit of a different thing now where we talk about a band that only has one full length to their name and by all accounts, I think is only going to have one full length to their name because I think the project's just kind of like on, I guess, indefinite hiatus, maybe just done, especially given the way that they decided to name the releases that they did have. I am maybe not of course, but I'm going to say of course, talking about indie supergroup Boygenius. Boygenius first came to our collective attention back in 2018. It is the collective team of Phoebe Bridgers, Julian Baker, and Lucy Dacus. Originally, their first EP came out as a well, from what I understand, and I could be remembering the details a little bit wrong here, but my understanding is that the tour that all of the individual members of Boygenius went on back in 2018 was slated pretty far in advance. They had planned to record one collaborative song in order to promote the tour, and it ended up gelling really well, and they ended up writing an entire EP. And that tour, I went to one of the dates, and it was incredible. Mostly because of the fact that it was quite legitimately just Julian Baker playing, Lucy Dacus playing, Phoebe Bridgers playing, and then the collective of Boygenius playing the entire EP front to back. Maybe not in order. I think actually mostly in order. I could be wrong about that. I'd have to double check the set list. But anyway, yeah, I'm sure anybody listening to this is pretty well familiar with the group. But Troy, can you tell me a little bit about your first experience with this band?
So I had been a fan of all of the members before they came together as Boygenius. Really, I was a huge Julian Baker fan early on. And I saw her play with Phoebe Bridgers opening. I should know, it's 2016-ish. Was
that the Lincoln Hall show?
I had ever. Yeah, Lincoln Hall.
Yeah.
And I had not ever heard Phoebe Bridgers before that night, and apparently she didn't leave much of an impression on me because years later I was talking to to Kale, my brother, and I was like, oh, I really want to see Phoebe Bridgers. I've never seen her before, and Kale was like, we saw her together at this Lincoln Hall show, and like I realize now I absolutely should have bought the like burned CD or whatever that she was selling at that show, because I could have then resold it for a lot of money.
Yeah, or had bragging rights.
That too. But so I'd say yes, I was a fan of all three members of this band before the Boygenius EP came out. And I've always been kind of like fascinated with supergroups. I like the idea of them. I think there should be more of them. And I was trying to think about like what was the last like cool supergroup before Boygenius, at least in our scene.
Gosh.
I guess it was like Fun is kind of the biggest one. I mean,
yeah, I think so.
And they like obviously turned into that kind of became their main project. I guess like because we just talked a lot about Thursday, United Nations is a much weirder example of that.
Yeah, given the originally kind of fluid nature of that band, and I guess like ultimately they kind of came back to it because the last thing they released had the lead singer of Punch on it instead of any of the like normal vocalists.
Yeah,
but yeah, maybe a weird example, but also very cool.
Yeah, I mean, I guess like the Damned Things is the obvious one.
Sure.
With members of Fall Out Boy and Anthrax. Did you ever listen to Isles and Glaciers?
I know I did at some point, but I'm gonna be real with you. I couldn't name a single song right now.
I mean, I couldn't either. That was one that I remember it being a big deal when they formed because it was members of Dance Gavin Dance or whatever, a bunch of like metalcore bands. But none of these other ones, none of those felt like they had the kind of impact, obviously, of someone like Fun, or like, the obviously looking way back to like the beginnings of supergroups like, Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Or Traveling Wilburys.
Yeah.
The Wikipedia page for supergroups is funny because it has a lot of like side projects that like it has the Postal Service listed as a supergroup. It's like, well, sure, there was like
technically
Ben Gibbard and people from other bands that were popular, but like that's a side project, not a supergroup. But that aside, I think that Boygenius is sort of very much fits in the mold of like what I think kind of the best supergroups are, in that everyone is kind of at the same level and they all bring something interesting to the table, and you can hear like they're obviously a very collaborative group, and I can't speak to how collaborative some of these other supergroups are, but you can hear in each individual song, like you can hear kind of who feels like they brought each song to the band, but then I think every song has everyone's fingerprints on it, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean that's something I've loved about this band, their entire go of it. I was talking to somebody about this not all that long ago, and like it was, I feel like, especially kind of given the I want to say how close together the releases were, but there was 5 years between the original EP and the record, but some of those years felt different than others.
Yeah, I was gonna say that feels impossible, but I guess the pandemic broke time.
It truly did. But like it was really cool to like it. I don't want to jump ahead too much, but like it felt to me like the EP was definitely like still very collaborative, but also felt distinctly kind of like, okay, like I can tell this person brought this song, and that like then it was worked on by everybody, except for Ketchum, Idaho, which we'll talk about in a minute here. But like then I feel like the record, we'll say several years later, felt like obviously there are still situations where it's like, okay, yeah, you can tell that this is a like mostly Julian song or mostly Phoebe song, whatever, but it felt like more of that melding was happening, and that like it really feels like an album by a band, which is, I feel, a really tough like nut to crack in a situation like this where everybody in the band is an incredibly talented singer, songwriter, guitarist, etc. in their own right, and like kind of presents a unique problem that I don't think really exists with a lot of other supergroups, where you kind of like pick and choose members based on like what they play or like what their kind of general function is, like if they're more of a songwriter, vocalist, etc. But all three of these women have a like a similar skill set, and like that. I'm not trying to be reductive. I just mean like they are all very good at serving the same function within a group. Which,
yeah, I think that's like spot on. And it's, I think the kind of three songwriters in a supergroup together, they're obviously very like on purpose calling back to Crosby, Stills and Nash, because the EP's album cover is like basically a Crosby, Stills and Nash photo homage.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's very different than something like, I mean, like it's Ellis Dunes is the other like recent one we could mention, where that feels like it was, a couple of those guys wrote some cool sounding songs and asked Anthony Green to sing on them, and it kind of went from there.
Yeah.
The supergroups that are truly like three sort of equal songwriters are kind of the most interesting in that case, because it's how do you can't really just be a solo album for one of them.
Right. Yeah. And like, no matter how much you are sitting in a room writing together, like one voice is generally going to like come through as like kind of the germ of the idea behind a song, intentionally or otherwise. Like that's just kind of how it works most of the time. But then again, like I feel like there are truly some Boygenius songs that just feel like well, actually, I would go so far as to say a lot of Boygenius songs feel like they only could happen in the context of this band. Like you couldn't just have like Julian Baker go off and produce a given song that, like, even if it's something that she is mostly the lead singer on, like it still feels like it's got something extra about it that I think only works in this particular group, which is really cool. But do we want to go ahead and start diving into this very short discog here?
Yeah, let's do it.
Sweet. All right. So as I mentioned, our first release that we're going to talk about here is the 2018 Boygenius EP, which is a 6-song EP released on Matador Records. I remember being incredibly excited about finding out about this. Obviously, much like Troy, I really loved all of these folks going into this record, and the combination of the three just really was quite stunning to me right out the gate. And a pattern that we get between this and the other more than 4-song release that they have is that the announcement of this EP was accompanied by 3 singles, which is maybe a little bit much given that the EP is only 6 songs long, but it was a pretty short promotion cycle because it was coming out shortly before the tour, and the tour was later that year, so it wasn't that wild. It wasn't like they were trying to do this long drawn out thing or anything like that. But those songs were, I hope I'm remembering correctly, the first 3 songs on the record, Bite the Hand, Me and My Dog, and Souvenir, which as we've kind of alluded to, like kind of do represent a Lucy song, a Phoebe song, and a Julian song, more or less. Obviously, like the collaborative nature of the band like brings something else to it, but I think that's kind of why they decided to go that route, was because they wanted to represent each of the band members kind of leading a song as an introduction to the band.
And they did the same thing on the record as well, with the 3 releasing 3 singles, one from each member. One that's kind of primarily a song from each member.
Yep, exactly. But yeah, pretty short EP, mastered by our old friend Heba Kadri. Big shout outs. I don't know much about Colin Pastor, the guy who mixed this, but it sounds great. So that's cool, man.
Produced one of my favorite records of the last couple years, No Joy by Spanish Love
Oh,
Songs.
dang, I didn't know he did that. That's awesome.
Yeah. Well, so they went to him because he's like a Nashville guy, and half of Spanish Love Songs lives in Nashville now. But they went to him because of the Lucy Dacus records he had done.
Oh, sure. That absolutely tracks.
Yeah. Which, give me the Spanish Love Songs Lucy Dacus tour. I will attend.
God, I would simply die. All right. Well, let's go ahead and talk about these tracks here. Starting with the first track, "Bite the Hand." I love this song. I think this song is great. I'm going to say that about pretty much every song we talk about today.
Yeah, there's not there. It's a obviously short discography, but it's really like no duds. Like there's nothing. I don't think there's like a bad song in this entire EP and album.
No, I don't think so at all. Yeah, but it starts off with a real banger, which is a wild thing to say because it is kind of a low key song, all told. We don't get really raucous on this EP until a little ways in, but then we do really kind of go for it. Also, I think I misspoke earlier. I think the third single was "Stay Down, Not Souvenir."
Okay.
So
that's a better choice.
Yeah, yeah. Good. Never mind. We'll get there.
Yeah.
But yeah, as I mentioned, kind of a Lucy-led song. Really has a nice build to it that I really appreciate. Like a really nice way to ease you into this like new sound that everybody's going for.
Yeah, it's kind of hypnotic, and like it's more all three of them like harmonizing in this one than it is like a Lucy song, even though she starts it off.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a perfect way to introduce like, okay, it makes total sense that these three songwriters are collaborating. Here's what they actually sound like all together, and it's a lot of that up front. So it really works as an opening track.
Yeah, absolutely. Like the harmonies are something that we're gonna talk about a lot over the course of this discography. But like, yeah, this song is really exemplary of like how great these three sound together, vocally at very least, but just even more in general as a band. And like having the refrain be as lyrically simple as it is really kind of reinforces that. But then you get that second verse where they're all singing, which absolutely rules.
Yeah.
And then the kind of bridge outro situation where everybody kind of gets a chance to be featured, but also we have the colliding of everybody harmonizing, and it's just so delightful.
Yeah, for sure.
Moving on, because we do have a lot to cover since we're doing it.
Yeah, we don't need to spend too long on like each song on this.
Yeah, totally. So Me and My Dog, kind of a Phoebe song, a really sweet song, especially given some context we'll give later on the last song of the record. We kind of come full circle in a fun way. But yeah, I don't know. I don't have a ton to say about this song except that it's really fun and it gets stuck in my head all the time. And I know that there's some references to the Ryan Adams situation that we don't need to get too deep into. Mostly because I don't want to like
think about Ryan Adams too much.
I don't want to think about Ryan Adams at all, actually. But but yeah, I think really just a really sonically delightful song. Maybe not lyrically delightful by any stretch of the imagination.
It's very much about anxiety and but like I love that I want to hear one song without thinking of you is a great lyric.
It's such a great lyric. And also just like singing a song about being in space with your dog is pretty rad on its own.
Yeah. One thing that I think is like cool about this song is hearing this after Stranger in the Alps. This was like it kind of it really works for all three members of this band. Is like it felt like what could their next record sound like with a little more instrumentation and a little more a slightly bigger scope in terms of what they were going for, like writing and arrangement wise. And I think this is kind of like a perfect example of that. It's like I think it kind of perfectly leads the way from Stranger in the Alps to Punisher.
Yeah, I can totally see that. And yeah, it's interesting because like kind of looking back on those early shows and like kind of where everybody was in their career, like both Julian and Lucy had 2 records out at this point. Phoebe had Killer and Stranger in the Alps. And like I think largely, I mean, Julian was still definitely playing solo, but like occasionally with a violinist, and maybe like one additional instrument. Lucy was still, I think she was kind of doing a mix of solo touring and full band touring. I remember
her early albums are the most full band of any of the 3.
Yeah, totally. And then yeah, I think Phoebe had a full band when she played on the Boygenius tour. I might be misremembering that, but I feel like her backing band was the Boygenius backing band too. I could again, 2018 was a long time ago. But yeah, I think it is cool that like that kind of does seem to hit as a bridge for both Phoebe and Julian to like what their next records could sound like, because Julian also like kind of went harder in the full band direction on Little Oblivions a couple years later. But yeah. Moving on to Souvenir, a song that I really like. I think starting off with a line like "Dreamcatcher in the rearview mirror hasn't caught a thing yet" is pretty damn good.
Yeah, I agree. This is like maybe the song on the EP that I go back to the least, but I think it is just another real solid song.
Yeah, I totally understand that. It's very low key, kind of compared to some of the other songs on this EP, even barring Catch 'em Idaho, but that's about as chill as it gets. But yeah, I think this song is a really nice one to just kind of palate cleanse before you head on over into slightly more rockin' territory. Not like much by any means, but getting into Stay Down. In a lot of ways, this feels a lot like a Julian Baker song, like just kind of generally speaking, and maybe less like a Boygenius song. But I might be a little bit overanalyzing that. But I mean, I love it as a result, because I'm a huge Julian Baker fan.
Yeah, I think you're right in terms of like structure and kind of the highlight of the song is that huge ending where she's just yelled singing, not quite screaming, but like it's the very intense "So I Stay Down" that's repeated at the end. It feels like kind of the like I had said, like listening to the early Julian Baker stuff and imagine like, oh, what would this sound like with a full band behind it? What would this sound like if this was even bigger instrumentally? And like I think that this song kind of fulfills that promise, although obviously she was doing it on her own records by that point too.
Yeah.
But I agree that it's one of them. The thing we talked about, like they get better on the record about having the songs feel like they are of the band and not of each member. And I think this one, not to fault it, because I think it's just a great Julian Baker song, but you're right, it feels like a Julian Baker song.
Yeah. But yeah, there's a lot added by, kind of having that full band backing. That like big like snare and tom flying wedge that happens is so cool.
Yeah.
And this song wouldn't be the same without it. But yeah, I love this song. I'm glad it's on this EP. Like it feels like it fits, but it does still sound a lot more like a Julian Baker song than I think some of these other tracks do, relative to their primary member or lead writing member. But that said, I think the next song maybe swings a little bit in the opposite direction, and I also think maybe is the best song on this EP. Not maybe not by a long shot, but like by a pretty wide margin. And that's like saying a lot in its favor, not disparaging the other tracks at all. Salt in the Wound, which as I remember it, they closed with at the last show I saw them play, which was that weird like reset festival that they did in Riss Park without permission from anybody.
The one thing like show that's ever happened there.
Yep. And you know what? I really wish that had gone differently. But it's fine. It happened the way it did. I got to see Boygenius one more time. My friend Allison went elsewhere to see them and saw them in a venue, and frankly, I'm jealous of them for it. but yeah, this song goes so hard. It has
it really
some
does.
of the gnarliest guitar sounds on any Boygenius song. It has kind of everybody at the height of their power. It goes so hard. And I think there are other Boygenius songs that go this hard, but I feel like this has a unique quality to it that makes it stand out in the discography, let alone on this EP.
Once we get into the record, I will go into this more, but I think that the like revelation of this band for me and probably for other people too is that like I think Lucy Dacus is the best songwriter in this band. I think her songs generally end up being my favorites lyrically, and I think the arrangements are always great. I think I look forward to hearing her stuff the most.
I don't think that's too much of a hot take, but yeah, we'll get more into that a little bit later. But yeah, closing this EP out is Ketchum, Idaho, a very nice the image will forever be burned in my memory of them playing this at Talia. They like just stood at the front of the stage, no microphones, sang it a cappella with an acoustic guitar, and it was straight up magical. And I couldn't imagine not getting to see that, if I'm being real honest with you. That's just like, that's canonically like what this song looks like in my head. And I really think it's a nice way to wind down and close out the album, and kind of, explore like life on the road and, the kind of unique qualities of being in a band with your friends and whatnot. But yeah, I really love this song. It has a special place in my heart. Even if it's, at maybe the most minimal song on the record, it's no less effective for it.
Yeah,
sorry,
this
not
is
the
actually
record,
my
the EP.
The EP. Yeah, no, this is actually my favorite song on the EP. I think that chorus is one of those things that like I heard it and I remember thinking like this must be like a traditional ballad or something they lifted from somewhere. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, it does. It really has that quality for sure.
It feels like it's one of those melodies that just has to have always existed. But I mean, it is an original composition, but and it's later on they actually do that traditional Irish ballad, The Parting Glass. But I think that this song reminds me of something like that, like just something that's just been in the ether for centuries or whatever. And they wrote it. They say they wrote it in 20 minutes in the studio, and just recorded it right there. And they think that they really captured something special on this song.
They really did. Like, yeah, I think to your point, it feels very timeless. And I think the writing of the melody, the minimal arrangement, the harmonies is just does nothing but bolster that. But the chorus sounds like it's been part of our collective consciousness for eternity, even though it definitely hasn't. It's only been since 2018.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's go ahead and roll into the record. Do want to mention real quick that briefly, I don't remember how long this was available as a thing that you could purchase, but they did release demos for a few of the songs, which were we were talking about this a little bit before recording. Probably just voice memos on an iPhone. They're just very like guitar and vocals and people singing and playing guitar in a room. But it's a cool little artifact to have because they were recorded kind of right before the actual record was committed to tape, as it were.
Yeah, I mean like you said, they're a neat artifact. I think they were maybe one of the first Bandcamp Friday releases.
I think you're right. Because it was June of 2020.
Yeah, they're not like the kind of demos that we loved digging into on the Thursday series where there's huge changes or anything. The songs are pretty much done. They almost sound like they're just kind of rehearsing them one last time before actually recording.
Yeah.
But yeah, cool to have.
Yeah, I'm glad they're out there.
Yep, same.
All right. And speaking of songs that have a certain minimal quality to them that really hinges on harmony and melody, we launched into the record with the a cappella song "With You Without Them," which I think kind of also really has that kind of like. I almost said ancient. I don't mean that. It has that kind of like that traditional like folk song type quality that Ketchum Idaho has, and I think it kind of recaptures that magic really well. Again, I don't want to. I can't overstate this enough. This was 5 years later that this happened. It was unclear that we were going to get anything from Boygenius ever again at a certain point, because the EP was just kind of I don't want to say flash in the pan because that sounds disparaging, but like it is bottled lightning in a lot of ways. It was folks who came together to record a song, realized they had 6 of them in them, went on a tour, and that was kind of supposed to be it. And then 5 years later, we get a full length from them. And this serves as a great introduction to that, I think.
Yeah, well, and they each went off and made a solo record between these, and it's kind of like remarkable how much this does. It just picks up right where the EP left off, it feels like.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, and it's worth mentioning they did this with a producer this time, Catherine Marks, a great producer who's worked with Manchester Orchestra, or she did the one of the more maligned Frank Turner records.
Of course.
But no, she's a very, very good producer, and I think adds an element of I don't know I almost said an element of production. Of course, that's what a producer does.
Generally,
but
yes.
Yeah. But I think that having someone else in the room to kind of shape these songs and add elements to them, I think puts this album even like a step above, what it might have been otherwise.
Yeah, totally. I feel that. So I super didn't mean to jump like right into it without giving literally any context to what happened within the 5 years between this record and the EP. We're this is the first time we're doing this, folks. I promise that I am bad at it. But
no, it's the other thing that we should mention is that in the time between, Phoebe Bridgers becomes like a legitimate like megastar.
Yes.
And so that it makes like the hype around this album and the anticipation around it was like unreal. One of those times when I was like, it is crazy to me that what felt like a little scene, a little not like a little scene, because like obviously Phoebe especially was playing like pretty big venues by that point, but it was like, it was, I'll liken it again to Fun, where seeing that band like get together was cool, put out Aim and Ignite and have success with it was awesome, and then watching them just explode with Some Nights was it's like the coolest thing as a fan to see like someone you've been following for a long time have huge success. And it was kind of the same thing watching Phoebe in particular, but all 3 members going into the release of this album.
Yeah, 100%. I think I hadn't realized how big Phoebe Bridgers got until like, I saw her play at Pitchfork after Punisher came out, and crowd was obviously huge, and many of them I'm sure were mostly there for her specifically. But like, yeah, just kind of going from seeing these 3 in Talia Hall in 2018, and like they played 2 nights, both were sold out. Not surprising at all, especially given like how popular they all were at that point. But then like going to like a place where they are selling out much bigger venues 5 years later was just a really wild and cool thing to see. Because I don't want to flex being a day one, but I was day one of this band, so it felt really cool to see them getting all this success.
Yeah,
and I do think that that's kind of had a knock-on effect for everybody in the band, but like Lucy and Julian in particular, because like Julian just played. I don't think she hasn't sold out a show on this tour right now. Which again probably would be happening regardless, but I feel like kind of having this collective that got so huge really kind of pushed everybody over the edge on that one, because like let's be real, they were all heading for fame anyway in some way, shape, or form, because they're all incredible musicians. I know that doesn't always equate to success, but it's nice to see it when it does happen.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, obviously Phoebe got Grammy nominations for Punisher, but this like they won Grammys for this record. They, it certainly skyrocketed all of them.
Yeah, but yeah, I guess we kind of diverted away from Without You, Without Them. But I really love this track. When they played it, the one time I saw them play it, they sang it off stage, just like all into a microphone, which was really cool. And just kind of highlights everything that I like about it.
Yeah, I guess I should say specifically, I've not actually seen Boygenius live, but I love when bands do like a moment like that where they are, off the stage or doing something without a mic, and it's obviously they've got a lot of songs that are perfect for that kind of setup.
Yeah. But then we go in the completely opposite direction with $20. That also one thing I do want to say before we launch too hard into that, I remember hearing this album on streaming for the first time because my record hadn't come yet because vinyl production is the way that it is. And I just remember being like, I don't really know about that hard turn there. It just feels kind of stilted. And then I put the record on. I'm like, oh, there's a transition here that just got left out on
really?
Streaming services. Yeah, because I think they like put in the single version of $20. There's like, okay. It's just kind of like, it's just like a little bit of like reverb and ambiance, but there's like a breath between the two that like didn't really initially at least hit streaming. It's possible that there are versions of this out there that do a better job of it now, but I didn't notice it until I actually put the physical record on.
Okay, because I was curious if they had fixed that, because I don't notice it sounding strange or off or anything, and I have only ever listened to this digitally.
It's not even strange. It's just when I hear a hard pivot like this, from a fully a cappella song to a rocker, we'll call it here. I need just like a little something extra, and I think like that was fulfilled by hearing that like actual transition for me. But yeah, $20. One of the 3 first singles off this album. This one they did release the 3 just all in a row because it was $20. Emily, I'm Sorry, and True Blue all at once. Again, kind of representing each of the 3 members. And then there was
big like triple music video.
Yeah, the Kristen Stewart directed Boygenius the film. The naming consistency here is really great for me personally. A guy
strong
who loves
branding,
that kind of thing. Yeah, strong branding, good stuff.
Kristen Stewart, good director. I think I would like to see her do a feature length movie.
Yeah, I think that would be rad. I really liked that. It's so interesting to have that be a way to handle. Oh yeah, we're just dropping 3 singles at once. How about you make a short film? And I think it worked out really well. Obviously there were, kind of the like transitional pieces between the songs where you just kind of like heard like a member humming part of the melody of Without You, Without Them, which I think is also a nice touch. But yeah, I liked that film a lot. I thought it was really cool. I don't think it's something that I'm gonna like watch a bunch. Like I watched it for the first time in a long time earlier today, but yeah, good stuff. I liked that.
It's one of those things that I was like, if this was in the like VH1 era or whatever, like they would have to cut it down or like pick one to put on as like the music video that they push, because they're not, VH1 isn't gonna play a 15-minute music video.
Yeah.
But like so this in a way, it's this kind of release strategy only really works in this era where they can just say like, yeah, we're gonna make a full, a 15-minute movie or film or whatever, and put out 3 singles at the same time that are kind of meant to be listened to all at once, because we're a band that really is meant to be kind of an equal partnership between 3 people.
Yeah. And also like I do really appreciate that like they are presented in album order, because like that really gives you the sense that like everything is being very, very carefully planned out. And obviously like a lot of care went into the sequencing on this album, and I, spoiler alert, think it's a really well sequenced album.
I do too. Here's a question for you. Do you think these 3 songs are the most like of their originator, if that makes sense? Like, I feel like $20 is kind of the most Julian song on the record. Emily, I'm Sorry is like the most Phoebe song, and True Blue is the most Lucy song, if that makes sense.
That makes sense. I don't know if I agree. I think Emily, I'm Sorry is the most Phoebe song. I think Anti-Curse might actually be the most Julian song, but that might only be, in the sense that I just saw her perform full band versions of a lot of her older stuff for the first time.
Okay.
But that was a conclusion I came to today, so I could change my mind about it at any time. But I think We're in Love might be the most Lucy song. But that might also be because it's one of my favorites on this record.
Spoiler, it's my favorite too.
Okay, cool, great. Glad we're on the same page. But no, they are definitely exemplary for sure. Like I don't disagree with that at all.
Yeah, I like. It's very obvious that Julian like wanted to make a rock record, because her songs all have like pretty cool guitar riffs.
Mm-hmm.
One being no exception.
Yeah. I think that this song just absolutely like. I don't want to say hits you in the face, but it does a little bit.
Yeah.
I love getting I know you have $20, give me $20 yelled at me at any given point.
It reminds me that the Manchester Orchestra, I'm fine, I just need $100.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I think it's a really like cool, like after having the like kind of gentle introduction to the record, I think it is really cool that we take this really hard left turn into probably one of the songs that goes the hardest on the record, with the possible exception of like 1 or 2 others. But I think it might be the most straight ahead rock song that we have here, without tinges of other stuff kind of bleeding in.
For sure.
But yeah, we've already kind of touched on the other 2, but let's talk a little bit about Emily, I'm Sorry, and True Blue. I love both of these songs, obviously. I think Emily, I'm Sorry is I like I said, I think it's the most kind of Phoebe track on this record. It wouldn't seem too out of place on a Phoebe record, but at the same time, like it feels really well situated in this record, that it like, and it really works where it is, especially, sitting between $20 and True Blue.
Yeah, I like I especially love the I'm 27 and I don't know who I am line that kind of sneaks in there at the end. She does the thing where she's like changing the chorus lyrics each time.
Yep.
Which I love. But so this is the one that like people dig into the like analysis, like who is this song about or whatever, and I think a way that is really weird. And like like I said, kind of like tabloidy. Which is like no fun. Just let people write songs about. I don't feel like, even though I love specific detail in songs, there's a point where it's like I don't really need to dig any deeper into like the lives of the people that she's writing about.
Yeah.
Which I guess just kind of comes with being a pop star. Which I mean, not in like the Taylor Swift way, but like, or stylistically always, but she is a pop star now. And I think the pop star fandom is weird and frustrating.
Yeah, a little bit. That said, quick shout out to a friend of the pod, Blake Carell, and his podcast, Like What You Like. He and Ari from Billy Joel Jr. were kind of talking about the use of specific names in songs, and how that creates kind of that extra little bit of specificity that like Emily is a pretty common name, but like everybody knows an Emily. So like you're gonna do some like replacement in your head of like who this person is, based on your own lived experience, and I think that's really effective here. Especially since it is like primarily an apology song to a person who like maybe isn't necessarily great for you, but you know, I think it really works. But yeah, I think it does unfortunately also add a little bit of fuel to that fire, because it does make it feel so specific. So it is a strength in that way, but also maybe creates some unintentional weirdness from certain crowds of people.
I'm never going to complain about specificity in a song.
No,
I think that in and of itself is good. I think the way that people respond to it, in especially, like I said, the pop fandom world is creepy.
Sure. I do kind of coming back to the I'm 27 and I don't know who I am, and its variations. I was reading earlier today in a Them interview with the band from around this time that Lucy seems to be the person who knows the most about astrology in this band, and I guess astrologically, like 27 is like, at least for them. I know nothing about astrology. I'm so sorry to everybody listening who does, but my understanding is that like 27 is like kind of a turning point, like from a cosmic perspective or something like that. So I think that was part of like why it's emphasized so heavily in the song, aside from it just kind of being the truth. But like, I think that's why it accompanies this kind of still not knowing who you are sentiment, where like obviously everybody feels like they should have it figured out by whatever point in their life they're at, and we all know that like it doesn't really happen like necessarily like that. But it's a tough feeling to reckon with, no matter what, especially when you do feel like you should have it figured out by now.
Yeah.
But that said, the turn of "But I Know What I Want" is a pretty strong one, kind of given that ambiguity otherwise.
Yeah.
But yeah, coming up on True Blue, my favorite song about Chicago on this record. It's not about Chicago; it just mentions Chicago, but I'm claiming it.
Yeah, I really like this song. I think this one starts to get at the kind of most interesting theme of the record to me, which is this the idea of like of friendships that are in a way like stronger than like romantic relationships, that are that specific kind of love that comes from a long deep friendship. And like and I know I said I didn't want to get into like the tabloid aspects of this, and not even on the song necessarily, but there's like a lot of these songs, they are definitely writing about each other, which I think is really fun aspect to this band. They clearly seem to be having a lot of fun, obviously playing together and writing together, but that they are writing about their own lives, which intersect with each other a lot. It gives like this album kind of a not quite like a hangout vibe, because it's a lot. Can be a little more harrowing than that sometimes.
Yeah,
but
totally.
But it feels like they're all equally open to giving like a window into this like friendship that they have, which I think is pretty like wonderful.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. I that was something I was thinking about a lot earlier today, as I was kind of like giving everything a quick last listen before we came into this, is just like how much of this record and some of the rest as well is just a testament to a friendship that is to your point, like perhaps stronger than a romantic relationship, and sometimes intersects with romantic relationships. Like there's a weird place that platonic love can sit sometimes, where it takes aspects of other types of love, and like that's rad. I think that's great. And I think that Lucy in particular breaches that subject really well on this song and other songs we'll talk about later. But yeah, I think this is kind of the first really like specific glimpse at that feeling of like having it. I know that everybody in this band is queer in some way, shape, or form. So I don't want to like gal pals them at all, but I also don't want to get into the weird thing we've already talked about. But yeah, like it's really cool that like it's expressed so well here, and it's like maybe not a feeling that people have realized that they've had in their friendships and their close friendships, and like even ones that like are long gone, and then we go into Cool About It, which I think is a fun, like kind of weirdly jaunty song. Yeah, I don't know, like that's a weird way to describe any song on this album, but like I feel like the guitar part does kind of give it this like jaunty quality, which I never thought I'd say out loud about a Boygenius song, but I stand by it.
It's just, the song is just like really good. Another one of those ones I don't know that I have a ton to say about outside of just that it is a good song.
Yeah, I feel like it might have been the Pitchfork review that like kind of maybe was like, I don't know about the line about taking someone else's medication and then having to pretend like you don't know what it's like to be them. I'm like, but I don't know. I feel like that's a pretty good verse, honestly. But like, yeah, this is one of those ones where we get traded verses between the three, and I really think that's a nice touch, because everybody kind of is touching on the same kinds of subjects, but coming at it from different angles, and I think that's really a place where this band shines, especially against a relatively simple backdrop, like a finger-picked acoustic guitar.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. So yeah, going from there, we go into the maybe the big one, some might say, Not Strong Enough.
Yeah, this was the song that like took this album over the top in terms of popularity. I mean, it's the one that they get Grammy win. They won Grammys for this song.
They did win Grammys for this song. Congratulations to Noise Floor's first Grammy winning band, Boygenius.
You mean Thursday didn't win greatest rock album of all time?
No, I don't think they did.
Yeah, this song is great.
This song rules so much.
It's just the chorus is just an incredible hook. This is where they really, to me, start to feel like this is a band, and they specifically talk about singing "Boys Don't Cry," the Cure song, which I think works perfectly with the guitars in that part, and really the whole song sound a lot like the Cure. I think they do a really good job kind of bringing in their influences on this one. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, the interpolation of Sheryl Crow is just like chef's kiss. And I obviously the big bridge where you hit that "always an angel, never a god" repeated over and over again. Like how good is that? I've seen so many "always an angel, never a god" tattoos. I can't even tell you. And for good reason, I think. Like this song just absolutely whips. I think it has kind of it. I don't want to say all the elements of what makes Boygenius a good band, but it's a pretty good distillation of what makes them a good band, I would argue.
Yeah, I mean it's the obvious, like, you want to know what this band is about, like this is the song you show someone.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I have the But behind me, I was trying to wear this during this episode to be the cool guy who wears the band merch to the podcast he's doing about the band. The biblically accurate angel shirt that just has like black metal font Boygenius lyrics on it, which I think is cool and nice. But yeah, this song rips. And I don't think I have anything more to say about it that anybody else hasn't already said.
Yeah. The interview that Phoebe gave, where she described the song as being about how self-hatred is a god complex, I think that's good enough to be a lyric in the song. Like,
oh yeah.
Just the idea that like that sometimes that like it can, this like trap of that everybody falls into at times of thinking like you're have it harder than anyone else.
Yeah, totally. But yeah, and then we once again kind of maybe take a hard swing in the opposite direction with Revolution Zero, a song that was originally called "Paul is Dead," which is something that I learned today, and I find that kind of funny. I'm not a Paul is Dead truther, to be clear. I just think it's funny that the working title for this song was that, and it ended up being Revolution Zero. A play.
What if obviously I came in here and I was just like, that's the one conspiracy theory I genuinely believe.
That's like the most harmless conspiracy theory I think you could possibly believe in, Troy. So I wouldn't care that much.
No, I've seen Paul live. I think he is. I believe that he is still the same Paul that was there in the 60s.
Oh, but are you an Avril Lavigne truther though? Is the real question.
I'm an Andrew WK truther.
Oh dang,
that's the one.
Wait, in that like. In that he's not the same guy all the time, just generally? Or
no, there's a thing about him being replaced after Party Hard. Let me look this up because now I have to get this right.
Oh god.
I don't actually believe this. Okay, let's see. The alleged story is that there was an actor who was playing the Andrew WK character, and that actor was switched. And there's a lot of side-by-side pictures. I'm guessing this is a lot of this. This is gonna, if I actually dig into this, I'm gonna end up seeing a lot of things that are similar to the Joe Biden's height changed thing.
Oh god.
Someone that I know, whose name I will not reveal on this podcast,
Fine.
I think legitimately believes that the Joe Biden replaced with a double thing, which is scary.
Well, yeah, okay.
So suffice to say, I don't actually believe in any of these conspiracies, but some are more fun than others.
I figured not. But anyway, Revolution Zero, a pretty cool song. Always longer than I remember it being. I feel like I swapped the length of this and Leonard Cohen in my head for some reason. Spoiler alert, I really love Leonard Cohen, the song, also the late singer, but you know what I mean. We're talking about this album right now. But yeah, I think it's a really neat track. It's got a pretty low key vibe, but like it also kind of does hit that hypnotic quality hinted at by the name, given both just the use of the word revolution and also the kind of song that it's the Beatles song that it's referencing.
Yeah, it feels very much like in line with a lot of the slower songs on Julian's solo records, but with plenty. Wait, is this a Julian? Am I like losing my mind? Oh, sorry, no, this is a Phoebe song.
I was gonna say I'm pretty sure this is a Phoebe song.
This is a Phoebe song, but it is. Sorry, what I said was true, just with the wrong name. But I think it's in line with the softer songs on her solo records.
No, I totally agree with that. Yeah, it's some of the lines are maybe a little blunt for my taste, but that's okay. I think it still works out overall. Yeah. I like the little okay at the end of the song too.
Yep.
but yeah, after that we get a shorty. It's like I want to say a minute and a half long. Leonard Cohen, another like a very storytellery song, which is kind of a telltale sign that it's a Lucy Dacus song. But I really love this song. It's just such a neat little package.
Same.
Yeah. Again, like really kind of touches on this, love in the different ways in which it manifests itself. I don't want to say thesis of this album because I'm not sure that the whole album's about that, but it's not all about that. But like it's succinct, it's kind of funny, but also kind of serious. I just think it does so much in such a short amount of time, and I think that's really special.
Yeah, the tone of the song is that like almost like playful ribbing when they talk plenty about what this is about with Phoebe forcing them all to listen to a 10-minute Iron and Wine song while accidentally driving in the wrong direction. It's funny. It's a funny story. It's funny in the song. Her like analysis of Leonard Cohen in the second verse is funny. But it then ends with this very profound, like, I never thought you'd happen to me, is like it zooms out and it all of a sudden is this like kind of universally relatable tag at the end of the song.
Yeah, 100%. I do to the point of talking about Leonard Cohen in that second verse. I have a fun personal anecdote. I did order Leonard Cohen's Book of Longing a while ago, back when I was still working in an office. I had that book delivered to the office. Fun fact, don't open that book in a public place. There are some horny drawings in there, which is not surprising given the context, but I didn't realize that at the time. And thankfully none of my coworkers saw it. Otherwise that could have been a problem.
That's very funny.
But yeah, I think this is just a delightful sub 2-minute song, which is not something I would expect out of an album like this, just kind of generally speaking, but it's such a nice little kind of reprieve from the more serious subject matter of the other songs. And just all wrapped up in this really neat little package.
Yeah.
Then we get really serious and talk about Satanism on Satanist, and also some other stuff. This is another highlight of the album for me, I think. And like I think it's another one of those like very like you could probably show somebody this song and say this is what this band sounds like. Maybe a little less than Not Strong Enough, but I think kind of on the same tip in a lot of ways.
Yeah, it's that they take that form where like everybody, each member gets a verse, and it's they're all kind of starting with that same question format, and I don't know, it's another rocker. Like I said, it feels like Julian brought the riffs to this album.
Yeah, totally. I really love the structure of the verses too, like just approaching the same verse structure but with different subject matter, but like hitting a lot of the same, like the will you be a blank with me is a really cool way to kind of start off each verse, and then like doing the thing where you just kind of elaborate on that with a Satanist, an anarchist, and a nihilist. If nothing matters, man, that's a relief is a really great line, and it makes me think about The Big Lebowski every single time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think this song is really, really great. And I think having kind of the outro where everybody sings together really ties it together. And I feel like this song like kind of goes places in a way that that a lot of the other songs don't, like just kind of shifting in terms of musical tone. And I think that's a neat touch too.
Yeah.
All right. So then from there, we get to We're in Love. I'm going to say it may be best song on the record. Definitely best song on the record.
Clearly best song on the record
yeah,
for me.
God. I have a tough time saying that for the same reason that I had a tough time ranking Thursday records, because it's a close call, but also like this song is just so singular.
It really is. I mean, it's like for one, it's just like nice to listen to it in November. It feels like a perfect fall song. I mean, it
Yeah.
specifically mentions October in it, but like it's the listening to this with the current. I mean, we're gonna release these like a month after we record them, but it's the beginning of November. So listening to this with like the leaves falling and the weather starting to get colder, it was like the perfect environment to hear this song in. This one I guess maybe didn't stick out to me, when the album came out, but it just like wrecked me this week when I've been listening to it.
Oh God, I sobbed the first time I heard this song. Like no, like it was one of those situations where like I was probably listening to it in the background, but like I heard the line, "You could absolutely break my heart." That's how I know that we're in love, and I was like, all right, this is what I'm doing now. Great. I'm paying 100% attention to this, and I'm sorry, work, I can't do anything for the next little bit here.
Yeah, the one that gets to me is the "Sing the Song You Wrote About Me, never once checking the words. I hope no one sings along." Like,
God,
the way that she writes about like the vulnerability of being close to someone is, I don't know, it really works for me.
Yeah, my highlight, or maybe low light emotionally, is shortly after that with the "If you rewrite your life, may I still play a part" line. Like that was where I was like, well, all right, we're just doing emotions here now, I guess.
Yeah. I like the I mean, because it's explicitly what the song is about. I liked the story from the NPR interview where they talk about Julian like rejecting the song because it was like too personal.
Yeah,
I guess it is about her. But she had a quote that was like, you still learning to know the difference between being scrutinized and being seen.
yeah.
Which is a really, I don't know, the way that all three members talk about their own writing is really, in their own process, I think is very it's like enlightening. I really like reading their interviews.
Yeah, totally. It gives some great context in a way that maybe doesn't necessarily happen with a lot of other acts. Just because of the way that these three are in particular.
Yeah.
But yeah, this song still wrecks me every time, but like really, like it hit me like a train the first time I heard it. And I'm a little more braced for it nowadays, but it still hits almost as hard as it did day one. So yeah, I think kind of easy best track on an album of absolutely great songs. So it's, I would say, saying a lot about this song in particular. But from there we go into the penultimate track, Anti-Curse, which I think I already mentioned. I kind of realized today is I think maybe the most Julian track on here. But yeah, I don't know. I dig this song a lot. And that's probably mostly because I think of it a lot as a Julian Baker song, and I love Julian Baker. So
yeah, the line "unpacking God in the suburbs"
so good.
I always really like. Yeah,
so good. But yeah, I think yeah, I like I really like the outro, which they say the title on that one. But like writing the words to the worst love song you've ever heard, sounding out the foreign characters, an incantation like an anti-curse or even a blessing is like such a cool way to close out a song. But also just calling out the worst love song you've ever heard without specifying what it is. I think that's kind of a thing where I don't think more specificity would help that line, because I really like being able to like imagine what that is in my own life, and I'm sure everybody else has their own worst love song they've ever heard. But I'm not going to try to pull that for myself right now because I don't know what it is off the top of my head, but I'm sure there's plenty of them.
Oh yeah, certainly. Only the most written about topic in all of music.
Yeah, there's yeah, a lot of that. But yeah, this song also like talks a little bit about an experience of almost drowning that is alluded to in a later song that we'll touch on, but just kind of putting that out there right now. for when we talk about it later. But yeah, then we come on the closer of the album, and a callback to an earlier song that we talked about, "Letter to an Old Poet" that interpolates a bit from "Me and My Dog," which I think is one of the coolest things ever.
Yeah, the way that not only do they use like some of the melodic ideas, they actually use some of the crowd noise from the particular performance of it.
Yep.
It and that's the kind of thing that you might not really notice unless you're listening. They do it in a pretty subtle way. It's not like there's cheering at the end of the song or anything.
Right. Yeah.
But I think it when you know that that's what that sound is and why it's in there, it adds a lot of weight to a song that's already pretty weighty.
Yeah. It's a downer for sure, but it's also a triumphant song because it's
right. Yeah, it's
I don't think coming out. Sorry, I should say like the first verse is a downer, and then the rest of it is coming out on the other side of that, and I think that's really cool, and a great way to cap off this record.
Yeah, it's open ended without, but it's not like, but it's not in a dreading way. You know that like, I want to be happy. I want to walk into my room without looking for you, and then that like I can't feel it yet, but I'm waiting. At the end is like I know it's the right note for this album to end on. It feels like
it's hopeful but realistic in a lot of ways, and that that's a subject we're familiar with on this podcast for sure. But yeah, I think it really takes the album out on the right note in a lot of ways, and creates a nice little like having not known that there were other songs going into this record. I was like, oh yeah, like if this is it, that's cool. That's really cool actually. They really did a whole loop, and I love that. But yeah, not very long after this record came out, we did find out that there were in fact more songs.
It was only what, a few months later.
Yeah, it was a shockingly short amount of time later that the rest was announced.
It was like 6 months.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah, because it was kind of late in the year, right? Like oh god, I don't want to say Q3. What am I?
Letting your corporate life bleed into our podcast.
God, I would love nothing less. Anyway, yeah. The rest was announced a little later in the year. Came out in October of 2023. Also on Interscope. Came out as a 10-inch record. I'm looking at my entire 10-inch collection, and it's not very many. But I'm glad it exists because I like the idea of if you're a band who's like this is probably just gonna kind of be it, like yeah, just put everything out there because of course all the songs are good. It's Boygenius. Come on.
I'm more of a defender of the 10-inch as a format than most people. I think if your EP fits on a 10-inch, you should release it on that. I think it's fun.
Oh no, I actually totally agree with that. I just don't have very many of them because not a lot of people do that. They'll do like a 2x7-inch or something.
Yeah.
Or cram more songs than should be crammed onto a 7-inch onto a 7-inch, which is a worse problem, I would argue. But yeah, this is a kind of quick 4-song EP. All, as far as I know, came out of the actual sessions for the record, right? Like I'm not mistaken on that. Or did they?
I think they didn't.
Okay.
Because Catherine Marks isn't a producer on these. They went back to Colin Pastor.
Oh, right. Yeah.
For these. So I think they did these in a separate session.
Okay. Gotcha. Well, cool. But with that context, yeah, we've got 4 songs here, which serve as the remainder of the Boygenius oeuvre. I don't know if I pronounced that word right or not. I've only ever read it. Hoorah. Love that. But yeah, the first track we have here is Black Hole. Which I think really it stands out in I think Boygenius's catalog from an arrangement standpoint. Like it sounds very different sonically than I think most of the rest of what they've done, which I think is cool. There's this like really cool build. There's these like kind of odd synths going on. I think it's a really neat way to launch into the remainder of what we've got here.
Yeah, it just kind of bubbles and builds. Yeah, kind of like I said, in a way that they don't typically do on a song. Yeah, I like it. It feels like it's a B-side. I don't think there's a spot for it on the record, but
No.
I do like it.
Yeah. I feel like maybe it feels like it needs like one more verse, maybe. I don't know what that would be, but I'm always kind of surprised when it ends. I guess is kind of where I land on it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's a really neat entry and a really cool way to kind of introduce this little collection of songs here. But then we get Afraid of Heights, which I'm gonna let you talk about first here.
Yeah, this is my favorite Boygenius song. It's probably my favorite song my favorite Lucy song as well, including all her solo work. This is like the most seen I've ever felt by a song. I think. I'm not like since I have not been like a listen to one song and repeat, for an hour person really ever in my life, but I've listened to the song repeatedly many times. The lines like I've never never rode a motorcycle, never smoked a cigarette. I want to live a vibrant life, but I want to die a boring death is the most like the most me that I've ever heard in a song. And just the idea that that feeling like pressured by friends to either take risks in ways you don't want to, or like, and I feel like the song itself just sums it up perfectly, that not everybody gets the chance to live a life that isn't dangerous, is like, I don't know, it's a feeling I felt so much of my life, and to hear it just like laid out so vividly in a song, like really knocked me out.
Yeah, no, I've revisited this song a lot less than you, but like, yeah, that's something I've noticed in these last few listens, is just like how, yeah, I think this lyrically, this song hits so hard. Like especially that, yeah, the line, not everybody gets the chance to live a life that isn't dangerous. And then like kind of going out on that outro of talking about how, like, this other person in this conversation who is a bit more of a risk taker is also like incredibly worried about the heat death of the universe and whatnot. And having a hard time with just kind of existential dread, which is fair.
But yeah, the idea that like, what is it? You're the one who got teary telling me what you believe, but how it hurts to hope the future will be better than before. And like, I don't know, because I'm I don't know, because I tend to be a bit of an optimist, or not, or maybe I'm naive, I don't know, but like I tend to have a little more hope for the future of the planet, the country, than most people with similar political, social beliefs that I have is me.
Yeah.
So I don't know. So much of this song just resonates with me for things like that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's that. I feel that. I don't think I'm quite as much of an optimist as you, but I do try to keep myself in that mindset that like things can get better, and I do truly believe that they can, and I think it's only going to be through great effort and solidarity among a lot of people. But I do truly think that can happen. And it, when that isn't happening, it does hurt. It hurts to hope for more in this case. But the thing I referenced earlier with Anti-Curse about Julian's kind of near drowning experiences, that's what's kind of related back to in this when the black water ate you up like a sugar cube in a teacup line. That's what that's talking about. Also, that's a really good line.
It is, yeah. Is that the same near drowning? I actually don't think it is.
That's what I've seen in notes. I don't have confirmation of that, but either way, like I had it maybe embarrassing almost drowning moment in a like wave pool at a water park once, and boy howdy, it's not fun, so it does stick with you. So if it's something you ever sing about, I can see singing about it more than once.
Yeah,
but
I just stay out of the water. I
that's
don't like
fair.
the water.
Fun fact, large bodies of water, scary, will kill you.
Yep.
But not all of them, just some of them, such as like the ocean.
I'm in the middle of an article right now about the Point Nemo, which is the furthest point from land in the world. But because there's no land anywhere near it, the currents there are like stronger than literally anywhere else, and like if you're on a ship or a boat or whatever that's going through there, you have to sleep like literally strapped to your bed.
Oh God, I mean, I believe it, but that's a horrifying thought.
Yeah.
Anything else on Afraid of Heights before we move on to Voyager?
No, we can go on to Voyager.
Cool. Yeah, this feels a lot to me like a Phoebe song. Again, less so than some of the other songs we've talked about, but like it still feels like it leans pretty heavily in that direction. I don't have much in terms of like notes on this song beyond that. But it of course is a good song. Shocking. Yeah, I know.
It's one of those just like straight down, no chorus. Just kind of telling a little story.
Yeah. I dig it. But yeah, like pretty minimal overall. Nothing super wild happening here, but still a really solid song.
Yeah.
Yeah, then we get to the closer of both this EP and the Boygenius songs that aren't a traditional song that's released after this that we'll talk about in a minute. Powers, which is I think a really nice kind of way to close out this EP. Kind of a kind of comic book origin story about a person with like this kind of like really nice arrangement here. I love the outro of this song, like the instrumental outro, super tight on this one. But yeah, I think this is a neat entry into the Boygenius catalog.
Yeah, the lyrics are pretty like darkly funny.
Yeah,
I like that so much of what seems like what I assume are songs that Julian brought to the band were kind of like these heavier, more guitar riff focused songs, and this is like that just on an acoustic guitar. You can very easily imagine that riff, played loud.
Yeah, totally. But I feel like the arrangement that got landed on here is, I think maybe the best arrangement on this EP. This is. I don't want this to sound disparaging. I feel like this feels in that respect like maybe the most like fully baked song on this EP. Just from an arrangement standpoint, like not like obviously all these songs are like hitting pretty hard, running on all cylinders for the most part. But I think this is my favorite song instrumentally on this here EP. Especially because of the outro, but I think everything leading up to that is also pretty good. But yeah, some of the lyrics on here are very very darkly funny. Also very specific to certain villain origin stories. But yeah, I think it's pretty neat, and I think it's a cool way to close out the EP. The EP entitled "The Rest," which the brand is strong. I wish they'd gone with a different name.
I like it.
Okay. I don't know. I it's not a strong opinion that I hold, but it was a thought that occurred to me today, and I'm like, yeah, I think I feel that. I feel like it would have been better if they'd called it something else, but it's also fitting. It is the rest of the songs. The rest of the songs.
Yeah, or if you want to get into the like alternate, the record being like, yes, it's the album, but it's also like the record of this time in our lives or whatever, and then the rest is like we're going to sleep for a while.
Yeah, I mean that's also a fair way of looking at it.
Kind of a fun way to think of it.
I like it. You know what? I'm turning around on this one. Cool. Well, then there's only one other song aside from song they played live that we don't really need to talk about, called Boyfriends. It was a rocker. It sounded cool, but there's no recording of it. But the other thing that we have is a tribute to the late Sinead O'Connor with The Parting Glass, which is a song they did with Ye Vagabonds, and is it a traditional Irish song or a traditional Scottish song? I forget.
A little bit of both.
Okay, sure.
From what I could read about it.
Yeah. I love this recording. I think it's beautiful.
Yeah, it's really nice. Obviously, it makes sense why this is just on a compilation, not on one of their records. But it's a pretty cool thing to have.
Yeah, it feels right in their kind of greater catalog. Even though it is like, it's one of the few things we encounter that they recorded that they did not, like, just outright did not write. It still feels in the spirit of the band. But yeah, if you haven't listened to this, which I hadn't in a pretty long time leading up to this, I really like it, and I think it's definitely worth giving a spin if you haven't already.
Yeah, and I think it ties back into how we were feeling like Ketchum, Idaho was one of those, felt like a traditional ballad, and this just literally is a traditional ballad.
Yeah, it really harkens back to that in a way, and really reaffirms how good Ketchum, Idaho is in that regard.
Yeah.
But yeah, following this, the release of the rest and smattering of tour dates, yeah, the band is on a break.
Well deserved, probably.
Yeah. Oh yeah, God. I mean, they're all incredibly good solo artists in their own right who have to, do their solo careers. And also, like, I mean, obviously, maybe not good on the kind of sudden spike in fame for them. Not sudden. Again, it was 5 years. But the kind of surge in popularity that happened between the first EP and the record, it feels like it kind of hit them all pretty hard, which is completely understandable. So definitely a well-deserved break.
Yeah. Do you think we'll get more Boygenius in the future?
Oh yeah, there's no way we don't.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't know if it's going to be. I don't know if it's going to be in the form of another record. I wouldn't be surprised if it becomes more of a, like, occasionally a Boygenius song comes out type thing. But these three are too tight to not continue making music together in some form or another. And maybe the future is a different project. Maybe it's not under the Boygenius name. That wouldn't make a lot of sense, but it could happen. But yeah, I think these three love making music together way too much to put it down forever in this form. Even if there is another 5+ year break.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they'll all make solo records, a solo record or two, and then hopefully come back to this project.
I was so, man. Speaking of people's solo careers, I was so hopeful that, like, Julian was going to make it through this tour playing like one new song a night at like all of the tour stops, and then like announcing a new record
out at the end.
Yeah, I was convinced because sorry, context.
That's what the National did.
Yeah, that's what the National did. But no, like I was like I went to the 3 Talia Hall shows here in Chicago, which were the first stops on this tour. And night 1 she played a new song. Night 2 she played a different new song, and I was like, oh man, we're on a roll here. Night 3 she played the same new song from night 1, and I was like, oh dang it. But I'm a believer that there's a Julian Baker album in our maybe not imminent future, but it's gonna happen sometime soon.
She's also got I think maybe already recorded that like collaborative country record with Torres.
Yes, there is the Torres collaborative album, which I'm incredibly excited about. I love Torres too, so it's gonna be rad. But yeah, and then I'm sure Lucy's cooking something up. I'm sure I'm not sure where Phoebe is in terms of like writing and recording, but you know, I have faith that we'll see something from her pretty soon too.
Yeah. Cool. We'll be back. I guess. I mean, unless you have other thoughts on the Boygenius stuff.
I mean, there is a $700 guitar you can buy if you want. If you're that big of a fan.
It looks nice.
It does. I would love to try one in person. I don't think I have it in me to buy a $700 guitar sight unseen, but it's cool.
We can take a field trip to CME.
I mean, if they have one, sure, yeah, absolutely. We'll come back with a review. But no, yeah, if it hasn't become apparent in the run of this episode, this band is very, very special to me. And I do appreciate that, like, we've gotten as much as we have from them, especially given that it was originally just supposed to be a song, and it blew up into effectively an entire career. And I love that for all of them, and for me.
Yeah, it is very, very great to have. It's great to have great music.
It turns out music good, especially when it is enjoyable and good, and written by people who are good at it. I'm gonna say good one more time, and that was it.
All right. So we'll be back next week, digging into the discography of Rilo Kiley. We're gonna start with their self-titled EP/album. It's kind of one of those in-betweeners that has like 8 to 10 songs, depending on which version of it you have. Yeah, I'm excited about this one.
Yeah, I'm stoked to dive in. Yeah. If you haven't already listened to that, go ahead and give it a listen between now and then. I was talking to somebody the other day, and they were like, "So should people be listening along like as you guys go?" And I was like, well, I don't really know how to answer that, but yeah, I think.
I mean, the nice thing is, like, it's easy to just listen to an album. Like, it's harder to keep up with a movie podcast because movies take a little more like time and commitment to get through. But like, you can just throw an album on and listen to it.
Yep. So yeah, listen along with us. We're gonna be starting Rilo Kiley next week, and it's gonna be a good time.